Welcome to the Sober and Happy podcast, where we talk about all things recovery related, how to navigate the challenges that we'll face along the way on our journey towards our best lives, and how we could go from living a life of simply just being sober to a life where we're both sober and happy. Today I want to discuss a topic that could truly transform your recovery journey, and that's practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a concept that is often discussed, especially in self-development and recovery communities. But today we'll explore how it plays a crucial role in sobriety. We'll explore how gratitude can be a foundation for sobriety and ways to incorporate it in our daily lives. However, we'll also discuss some potential dangers, like being grateful for everything to the point of invalidating our feelings. So buckle up. This is going to be a great episode. Welcome back. Let's start with the idea of gratitude as a foundation for sobriety. When we're in the middle of the battle of addiction, it's easy to focus on everything that's going wrong, what we've lost, what we've messed up, and what we regret. On the other hand, sobriety offers us the opportunity to rebuild, and gratitude can be the foundation of that process. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we don't have to what we do have. It helps us appreciate the small victories, like waking up without a hangover, reconnecting with loved ones, or simply enjoying a peaceful moment. These may seem minor, but when you're building a new life in recovery, these small moments are monumental. In the most basic explanation of gratitude, we could choose to focus on the good or the bad in any situation, and that choice will greatly affect how we view life. When I first got sober, I had a suspended license in 2 states. Having no idea how to fix this, I started by calling the California DMV where I lived at the time and asked them what I needed to do. They told me the first thing I needed to do was get the restriction removed from my suspension in Arizona, so I called Arizona. They said I needed to take care of my failure to appear and the fines that I'd owe that court. After I took care of that, I called Arizona DMV back, and they told me that since I had a suspended license in California, I needed to fix that first before they could remove the restriction. So I called California back, and they said Arizona had to remove the restriction first. Then I called Arizona again, and they said California had to go first. Finally, I called California one more time and explained my whole situation. I told the lady on the phone that I was recently sober and trying really hard to get my life back on track, and I'd really appreciate her help in fixing this. She put me on hold for a long period and finally came back and said, I talked to Arizona DMV and we figured it out together and you're all set. Now, this entire situation was very frustrating. I spent 2 days between talking to the courthouse and being bounced back and forth between 2 DMVs, sitting on hold sometimes for several hours before being connected with someone. It would be understandable to focus on that part of the situation. When people asked me if I got my license back, I could have gone on and on about how hard it was, sitting on hold and complaining about how bad the DMV systems are in both states. Or I could focus on the wonderful woman who, after I pleaded for her help, placed me on hold, called the DMV in Arizona, waited on hold for an hour herself, and helped me fix it so I could take one of my first steps towards rebuilding my life. Focusing on everything that went wrong would only continuously bring me back to that point of frustration for those 2 days. Focusing on a stranger's kind act, though, made me feel happy and supported. Now, many times when I tell people this story, their first response is, well, yeah, that's her job anyways. That type of negative mindset, even seeing a kind deed with a negative outlook, only leads to looking at everything through that negative lens. I have lived life that way, and it is a miserable way to exist. That is why the first step in this process is looking at gratitude as a mindset shift. This is about retraining our brains to see the good in our lives rather than just focusing on the negative. When we're stuck in the cycle of addiction, we often get stuck in a victim mentality also. We think things like, why is this happening to me? Or why can't I ever catch a break? Gratitude helps us flip that script. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, gratitude allows us to view them as opportunities. It's not about ignoring the difficulties, but about recognizing that there's something to be grateful for even in tough times. Think of it like a camera lens. When we're focused on the negative, it's like having a zoom lens on all the bad stuff. Everything looks enormous and impossible to conquer. But when we switch to a wide-angle lens, we start to see the bigger picture. We notice the good things that are also there, and suddenly, the challenges don't seem as overwhelming. Gratitude also helps us build resilience. Recovery isn't a straight path. It's full of ups and downs. There will be days when you feel strong and days when you feel like you're barely holding on. Gratitude is what can keep you grounded during those tough times. Let's say you're having a rough day. Maybe you're feeling tempted to drink or use. Instead of giving in, you could pause and think about what you're grateful for in that moment. Maybe it's the support of a friend, the fact that you've made it through another day sober, or even just the fact that you have the tools to handle the situation differently this time. This shift in focus can give you the strength to push through. Building on that, let's discuss gratitude as a coping mechanism. Life in sobriety doesn't mean life without problems. Far from it. But gratitude could be a powerful tool to help us cope with stress, anxiety, and cravings. When faced with a difficult situation, like an argument with a loved one or a stressful day at work, you could practice gratitude instead of letting that stress overwhelm you. You might say to yourself, I'm grateful that I have the clarity to handle this situation sober, or I'm thankful that I'm in a place where I can work through this issue rather than running away from it. This doesn't make the problem disappear, but changes how you approach it. Gratitude also keeps us grounded in the present moment. In addiction, we often live in the past or the future, regretting what we've done or worrying about what's to come. But recovery is about living in the now, and gratitude is the key to doing that. Let's say you're out on a walk and start feeling anxious about something that happened earlier in the day. Instead of letting your mind spiral, bring yourself back to the present by focusing on something you're grateful for right then. Maybe it's the sunshine, the fresh air, or just the fact that you're taking care of yourself by getting some exercise. This simple act of refocusing could help calm your mind and bring you back to the present moment. Now, to make gratitude a consistent part of your life, I find it best to adopt a daily gratitude practice. This could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day. The key is consistency. It's like working out a muscle. The more you practice gratitude, the stronger it becomes. Every night, jot down a few things that you're grateful for, big or small. It could be anything from a kind word from a friend to getting the closest parking spot at the grocery store to seeing a beautiful sunset. Over time, this practice will make it easier to see the good in your life, even at those moments when things are tough. Now, while practicing gratitude is powerful, it's important to recognize the potential dangers of trying to be grateful for everything. Sometimes we might feel pressured to find something to be grateful for in every situation, even when it's inappropriate. This could lead to invalidating our own feelings. If you've gone through something really difficult, like losing a job or going through a tough breakup, it's okay to feel sad, angry, or disappointed. Jumping straight to gratitude, like trying to be thankful for the lesson in the situation, can sometimes feel forced and dismiss your very real emotions. For example, I can't tell you how many times during a breakup I've had someone say to me, "You are better off without her." While that might be true, it does not help heal the emotions I'm feeling at that moment, and honestly, it usually just pisses me off. Trying to instantly be grateful without first feeling and processing the emotions can have the same effect. It is important to acknowledge and process your feelings before jumping to gratitude. Otherwise, you risk burying emotions that need to be dealt with. It's crucial to find a balance between practicing gratitude and allowing ourselves to feel whatever emotions come up. However, we should be careful not to slip back into focusing only on the negative. It's about finding the balance between appreciating the good in your life while also allowing yourself to fully experience and process the challenges. The only way to learn that balance is through practice. So let's start practicing adding gratitude today. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Here's your weekly challenge. The best way to change is to first recognize where we are at this current moment. I want you to consider whether you're focusing on the negative things in life or finding gratitude in situations instead. To do this, go back and look at the last week of your text messages and see if you're typically in a negative or a grateful mindset. Are you usually complaining to your friends, or are you talking about the things that are going well? I'm not saying not to reach out for support when needed, but there is a difference between looking for support and just complaining. So take a look at your messages for the week and start working on shifting to a mindset of gratitude in your communications with your friends. You will notice a huge difference in how you feel, and I'm sure your friends will appreciate the shift too. That is my challenge for you this week. New episodes come out each Friday, so I look forward to connecting with you next week. And as always, thank you so much for listening and keep living sober and happy.